Hello everyone and welcome to Dinky Toy Restorations, my channel for the sympathetic restoration of my favourite childhood toys. Today we have got Dinky Toy number 471, the Austin van. This is the van version of the Austin A40 Devon, and this one would make a good beginner's project. There is no glazing and no moving parts, other than the wheels of course. And this example is in good shape. This dinky model was in production from 1955 to 1960. All were red with yellow wheels and carried the Decals branding. My example is in fair to good condition, I would say, but there are some issues, so let's go through them. The painting is poor and needs replacing. The Decals decal has worn off completely. Only two tyres remain, although they're original, they have flattened over time, and the front tab on the base plate is bent. On the plus side, however, the body is sound with no damage, and the wheels and axles are both good. A replacement decal is readily available. So, having ordered the new decal, let's get on with the strip down. The base plate is held by a rivet here. The front base plate tab is hooked through the body casting on the front bumper. This is quite a small rivet, so I'm going to use a 1.5mm drill to drill through the rivet and into the post on the casting. I'm using my Dremel and workstation to get a vertical hole. I drill deep into the body post using the centre hole in the rivet to guide the drill into the centre of the post. I now carefully drill off the top of the rivet with my 4mm drill. I bought this advertised as the drill for the job. This is the second time I have been left with a damaged casting. Luckily this will be easy to rectify with some filing, but I think I will try a different drill in the future. Now I can remove the base plate. The front tab is bent out of shape and needs flattening before the base plate can be removed. With this done, I can lay out the few basic parts for inspection. The back axle and wheels fell apart after the base plate was removed because there are no flattened ends to stop the wheels falling off. They are simply held in place by covers over the rear wheel arches on the body casting. The front axle and wheels are fixed into the chassis in the normal way. The chassis itself is bowed a little and will need straightening, as will the thin side plates. They also need nipping flat with some pliers. The old tyres have flattened with age and are brittle. One broke off the wheel easily, the other had to be cut. I will be using new tyres, as it is impossible to change the rear ones with the body in place. With the van in bits, it's time for a clean-up. This time I'm going to use my Ultrasonic Cleaner, as it gets into difficult to reach parts. I bought this to clean my airbrush and have done some old motors in it for my railway. The results can be amazing. You can pick these small ones up new on Amazon or eBay for around £16 in the UK. They are rated at 35 watts and clean with an ultrasonic frequency of 40,000 cycles per second or even higher. They are non-aggressive and highly efficient. Mine came fitted with a watch holder, which we don't really need, and a basket. I like to use the basket, but it does not matter if you ignore this also. The basket is big enough to hold all the bits of this car. I fill up the bath with hot water. There is a maximum level indicated. I then add some ordinary washing up liquid or dish soap, although again you don't really need to. I put in the basket, making sure the water covers all the parts. And switch on. There is no timer on my cleaner, but it will clean for 3 minutes and then switch off automatically. One 3-minute cycle cleaned all the components, but I did put the chassis in again for another 3 minutes. The water looks quite dirty, which is a very good sign. Here are the results of the ultrasonic cleaning, particularly noticeable on the body casting, where the colour is richer and the paint is clean, making it easier to match later on. The cleaning has also revealed small parts of the original Nestle's lettering that was completely hidden earlier. The cleaning has also restored the body interior to its original new condition. Cleaning has removed and cleaned the bad bits, but left the play-worn patina that I like to preserve. I know some of my subscribers don't see the point of this, but I choose to keep an indication of its life in the toy box. It's a personal choice, and a valid one, I think. With the base plate removed, I drilled out the post to take the new rivet. I've set up my Dremel workstation to file down the rivet head to match the original in size. I need to remove about 1 millimeter in diameter. Using the digital vernier calipers, I can check when the head diameter comes down to about 4 millimeters. happy with this. The hole in the chassis is 3mm in diameter, so I want to keep the head to about 4. I will now round the head, reducing the thickness. Ahead of the paint stripping, I need to tidy up the end of the post by filing it back until it will fit flush with the base plate. The modified rivet sits neatly on the base plate and is central in the post. And finally, I need to match a colour for respraying. Sorting through my paints, I found a hobby colour acrylic gloss red that proved to be an almost perfect match. Everything is now ready for paint stripping. I'm using dial paint stripper from B&Q. I know there are products out there that work quicker, but I'm happy with this. It's cheap and I can buy it locally. I give everything a good coating with the brush. I will put a fresh glove on because I'm going to strip the wheels while still on the chassis, and I don't want to get paint stripper on the base plate. I am only applying the paint stripper to the outer side of the front wheels. Clamping the chassis will hold the wheels clear of my workbench while the stripper is working. The two back wheels can be simply dropped into the paint stripper. And I'll leave this to cook for an hour and come back and see how it's doing. Well over an hour has passed and I am now cleaning the castings in water. You can use an old brush or a toothbrush to dislodge the old paint. The paint proves stubborn on this model, but I should be able to remove the remaining paint in the polishing stage using a mildly abrasive mop in the Dremel. Isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol is a good cleaning agent. I use it, as here, to degrease and finally clean the casting before painting. I also use it as a thinner, mixed with Tamiya and hobby colour paints for airbrushing. I've polished all the items that will be painted, plus the back axle. I checked the castings for imperfections. All looked okay, so I'm going to prime this model with Halfords filler primer. To get a better finish, I'm going to spray this closer to the model. The paint dries very quickly. I am going to use a hairdryer just to avoid any possibility of runs. I completely masked the back plate up to and over the back half of each front wheel. The back wheels are mounted on wooden skewers for painting and priming, and I primed the new rivet also. The following day I started the painting. I mixed the paint 50-50 with isopropyl alcohol. After a couple of light coats I built up the final finish. I also sprayed the wheels a bright gloss yellow. I left the body for a couple of hours to dry before applying the decals. I was very pleased with their quality. They were robust and the gold finish looked very good. I used a setting solution to help the decal stick tightly when it was dry. When the decals were fully dry, I brush painted the lights, grille and bumper silver, using Revell number 99, which is a metallic aluminium, enamel paint. While the paintwork was drying, I took the masking tape off the base plate. With all the tape removed, I can now flatten the small bow in the base plate. To do this, I placed it along the metal block on an engineer's square. And with a wooden block to protect it, I gently tap the plate flat with a hammer. And it now looks fine. The next thing is to remove the yellow paint from the ends of the front axles. To do this, I drilled a small hole in an old store card, just big enough to push over the end of the axles. With the wheels protected, I can remove the paint with the Dremel and the light abrasive wheel. I know I cleaned the base plate earlier, but I decided to buff it up a little bit more with some grade 4 Zeros ultrafine wire wool. That done, I applied a protective coat of Johnson's Clear to the whole of the base plate. Any clear varnish or lacquer will do. I also applied a coat of this to the decals to seal them in place. The original tyres were smooth, so I'm fitting a 15mm set of smooth replacements. I think this is the most satisfying part of the restoration, the final assembly. Everything is now ready. Before I take the final step, there is one thing I noticed, and that is the base plate carries the wrong number. The Nestles van was number 471, but the base plate is stamped 470 for the Shell BP version. This model for some reason was fitted with the wrong base plate in the factory. Probably a stock shortage, I don't know. Interesting though. And finally, the last rivet. I have used a small amount of araldite applied carefully to the inside of the post. This will hold the rivet in place and secure the base plate. A final touch was to paint this with Vallejo dark grey to match the look of the original rivet. Any future restorer can simply re-drill this rivet to remove the base plate. Before the final reveal, I will remind you of the look of the Austin van at the start of this video. Once again, I hope you like this video. please feel free to comment and subscribe. There will be more videos to come, so thanks again for watching.